Halo cars, heavenly vehicles designed to push design, engineering, and performance to the absolute limit. A Halo car is the calling card of the automaker.
Halo cars at their absolute best inspire so much positive press, goodwill, and confidence in consumers that it bumps sales across an automaker's stable. At their worst, they're a huge waste of a company's money, resources, and time. And today, on Idealist, we're looking at the worst Halo cars ever made.
From exotics that almost tanked entire automakers, to death traps that are nothing but trouble.
And to, be completely upfront, we're not judging these cars' performance in general. Most of them are amazing vehicles, but all of these cars failed as Halo cars for their respective brands. So, I'm Brad, this is the Idealist. Buckle up, let's go. Now, we love the GT-R. If you need proof, check out the love letter to the R32 up here. But the current GT-R, is failing Nissan as a Halo car. We've had the R35 GT-R since 2009.
And while it did look fresh 10 years ago, just like my mullet,
now it just kind of looks like a fast brick. It's a Halo car on an aging platform that needed to go like yesteryear. And although the GT-R still holds up in performance, many of the competitors have closed the gap. We're hoping Godzilla will make a refresh soon. And on the topic of monster problems, how much does it cost to buy the most powerful production car ever?
$1 million.
Try $1.5 million.
But even if you hand 1.5 million smackaroos to Bugatti and the Volkswagen Group, they're still losing over $6 million on every Veyron sold. That's according to analysts at Bernstein Research down on Wall Street.
How does a car with the $1.5 million price tag lose $6 million for every one sold? Guess how much it costs to research and develop the Veyron in the first place? Sure, some automakers are fine to break even or even lose some money on a Halo car, but Bugatti recoups less than a quarter of the cost for each sold. Speaking of super costly supercars. Yes, it is one of the best sounding cars ever made, thanks to Yamaha. Heck, it's on everybody's short list of best cars of all time. But the LFA was a terrible Halo car for Lexus. You see, when it launched, Lexus was a brand for middle managers and retirees who wanted comfortable, reliable sedans and didn't want to pay Mercedes money for it. The LFA, it was supposed to raise the bar of the Lexus brand to be on par with supercar makers like Ferrari, Porsche, and Aston Martin.
Performance-wise, the LFA could hold its own against the best of them.
But this hypercar cost more than a house when it launched at $400,000 a pop.
And despite its carbon fiber construction, it still looked like, a plain old Lexus. Lexus couldn't sell them, and it didn't inspire you to go get a GS300.
Production ended in 2012, and many LFAs sat on lots for years. I mean, heck, a couple sold last year, brand new. And while we're on the topic of JDM cars, when Honda announced in 2014 that the NSX would be making a return, they generated a ton of buzz.
There was so much hype that Honda could never hope to live up to it.
By the time the NSX launched in 2016, it was such a big letdown.
Compared to the other $150,000 plus cars, the NSX was average looking, with average performance, and no one that spends $150K on a car wants average.
Heck, the C8 Z51 clocked a better time at the Nürburgring than the new NSX, and it's about half the price. And as long as we're talking about the C8, yes, it is the only two-seat mid-engine sports car produced by a major United States automaker right now.
And it serves as Chevrolet's Halo vehicle. You get so excited to see one thinking it's a Ferrari or Lamborghini on the road.
Only to be extremely disappointed. All we're saying is that maybe the C8 Corvette should, look a little bit like a Corvette?
Nope.
Another two-door mid-engine supercar is a fantastic vehicle, and it's the Audi R8.
It's capable, it's comfortable, It can handle any weather and it's easy to drive. Heck, I bought one and I just recently sold it.
Those qualities, well, they're great in a compact sedan, a crossover SUV, or any other type of grocery getter. But if you want to spend over $150,000, don't you want some drama? Some danger? Some pizzazz? Not everything has to be as dangerous as a Dodge Viper, but the Audi R8 went too far in the opposite direction.
In the world of supercars, you want to be the best at something. Best engine noise, best 0 to 60, best lap time, best daily driver?
That, unfortunately, might be the only thing the R8 is best at.
Bruh.
Luckily, our next pick is best at a lot of things. The Aventador. This one does everything right.
It's a screaming V12 raging bull. It's everything you could want in an Italian exotic, except one thing is missing.
It has a single clutch transmission, when the Huracan of the same year had a dual clutch. Now, at the time, Lamborghini was worried that the DCT technology wasn't going to be able to handle the power the V12 would be thrown at it.
But when they did do a refresh on the Aventador, it would have been nice to see a DCT option. Sadly, it was never meant to be.
That is one downfall of an otherwise amazing Halo car. Now, Dodge did dodgy things and worked with Lamborghini to develop its slithery V10 supercar. It has a license to kill from a company that makes K cars. And Dodge wasn't shy about the fact that they wanted their own version of a Shelby Cobra.
So they made something fast and very dangerous. It's named after a snake, and good old Cheryl Kelby himself gave it his stamp of approval.
Even though it is a beast of a supercar, its competitors have a much higher level of refinement.
Driving a Viper is punishing. We found that out the hard way when we drove halfway across the country in one.
And you can totally watch that video up here. It's one of the coolest videos on YouTube ever. And Dodge had to give up making them because they literally could not make them safe enough. Danger is a part of the DNA of the Viper, so they couldn't really figure out a way to mandate side curtain airbags in it. And speaking of danger, the Porsche Carrera GT is truly a supercar with a racing heritage.
The 600 horsepower V10 engine was initially developed for use in Formula One racing, and the rest of the car's DNA is rooted in GT and endurance racing.
All that power in an analog car with no ABS or traction control made for maybe the most dangerous Porsche ever made.
The Carrera GT has been at the center of several high-profile accidents. Jay Leno spun one, there was a fatal accident at California Speedway, which led to major lawsuits.
And sadly, the Carrera GT is the car that took Paul Walker away from all of us. Now, Porsche has been accused of being irresponsible and potentially even criminally negligent for creating a production car that the average driver just can't control. While the Carrera GT could have been a celebrated supercar, it's become known for all the wrong reasons. Now, when Ford brought back the GT in 2016, they said that there's only going to be 500 models available. So, to get one, even if you had the money, you had to apply for an allocation. This was to check if your previous relationship with the Blue Oval, and it requested your social media status, like what platforms you're on and how many followers you have. So, call me crazy, but if you've saved up that $500,000 to buy your dream car, you should be able to buy it whether or not you're doing numbers on Instagram and TikTok.
Ford ended up producing more than their initial run of 500 and produced 1,350 total, which at least increased your chances of getting one.
And if you were lucky enough to get an allocation, Ford made you sign a contract that required you to participate in publicity and marketing events and prevented you from selling your GT for 2 years, which some buyers still tried to break.
你好，我是 John Cena.
Turns out they could see you, John. All in all, Ford really made you kiss the ring to buy the GT, which rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Not the best way to get your Halo car into buyers' hands. Volkswagen Group has a lot of brands under their umbrella, from high-end performance Porsches to the luxury daily driver Audis to the affordable everyday people movers under the Volkswagen badge itself. Each brand holds a unique niche in the marketplace.
So it was a real head scratcher when Volkswagen unveiled the Phaeton under the Volkswagen badge. It's a $90,000 400 horsepower executive sedan with an interior to rival Rolls-Royce.
But on the outside, it just looked like a bloated Passat. And it turns out nobody wanted to spend $90,000 plus on a chubby Passat. Okay, blasphemy. A Ferrari with a turbocharged V8? In 1987? What other F-car turbo could you buy until 2015 from Ferrari? I mean, besides the 288 GTB turbo, okay, I guess there were a few before 2015, but still, it was a surprise to see it in their Halo car, when most other models wouldn't carry it for years. Halo car's tech, well, it should just trickle down.
And nothing really trickled down from the F40.
Certainly not its sparse track car interior, not its flimsy panels, notoriously thin paint, or plastic engine cover, which looked like my college dorm room shower curtain. Born to compete against late 1980s supercars like the Ferrari F40 and the Porsche 959, the Jaguar XJ220 may go down as one of the most botched up Halo cars of all time. The car Jaguar promised was announced in 1989 with a V12 engine, all-wheel drive, and a projected top speed of 220 miles per hour, hence the name.
By the time Jaguar had gotten around to actually making the cars in 1992, the XJ220's engine had become a castrated turbocharged V6, and all-wheel drive had been reverted to rear-wheel drive only.
Built to compete on dirt and against the Ferrari F40? I am so confused. So was everybody else when they first heard about the Porsche 959. Yes, 959.
It all goes back to the 1980s when hair was big and Group B rally was taking the world by storm. The Audi Quattro was dominating and Porsche took notice.
Porsche decided that they wanted to just transform the 911 into a turbo rally machine, complete with digitally controlled variable all-wheel drive and suspension. Porsche started developing the 959 in 1983, but production didn't start until 1987, 1 year after the rally championships were abandoned in the Group B category.
But Porsche had succeeded. They had an amazing performance car on their hands. One that could handle like a dream on any surface in any condition. It could match the Ferrari F40 on performance. Unlike the F40, it did have AC, leather seats, and a radio.
Sure, it would sell like hotcakes in the US, right? Well, wrong, because Porsche didn't even attempt to assign the 959 to NHTSA nor EPA standards.
So, even though it was the most technologically advanced and highest performing production Porsche of its time, going 0 to 60 in just 3.6 seconds and reached a top speed of nearly 200 miles per hour, the 959, well, it had a problem. It wasn't road legal in the US.
Well, this didn't stop Bill Gates from trying to bring one in, but it got stuck in customs purgatory for 13 years before a change in laws allowed it to touch US pavement. So there you have it on Idealist, the worst Halo cars ever made. Should we have thrown the Buick Reatta in there? Do you even know what the Buick Reatta is? Well, Google it right now, it's gonna blow your mind. Also, let us know in the comments what we missed, and go check out this Idealist video up here, or what YouTube recommends you watch down here. This is Brad, this has been Ideal, and promise me one thing, keep living the ideal lifestyle.